Today is a good day, I thought, to revisit frequency. I think we all need to be reminded, and maybe myself more than anybody, of what we can do to keep our vibration high, especially with everything going on in the world. As I think I've shared with you folks, I went on a news detox, if you would, maybe a week ago. I don't remember exactly, but maybe about a week. But something showed up in my feed last night that I wish I didn't see. So I was like, you know what? Good time to go and remind folks of what we can do to keep our sanity, to keep our frequency high. And one of the things I always say is to get out in nature. So I thought doing a walk and talk video today would be very appropriate. And it just finished raining. So God cleared the skies for me here. I think I've always enjoyed being outdoors, but I think when it really resonated with me getting outside was back in 2020. We all know what happened in March of 2020. Maybe for my Florida viewers, you don't recall, because I don't believe Florida was ever shut down. My daughter lives down in Florida, and I don't think she ever got shut down, but we were. We were told not to leave our house, and if we left our house, we had to be masked, and schools was shut down. Grocery stores could only allow so many people in at a time. It was just the most ridiculous thing. And it got to the point that it was really weighing on me. Everything about it was weighing on me. So I'll never forget, June 9th, 2020, I decided to put my running shoes on and go out for a 3-mile run. And I had run in the past, but not for about 15 years, probably longer, because it was before my youngest was born, and she was 15 at the time. So it was probably 16, 17 years. And let me tell you, every muscle, every joint, every bone in my body ached that first week, probably into the second week. But the relief I got in my mind from being outside and exercising, and not everybody has to run, a nice walk, even just being outside, sitting on a bench. There's just so much to appreciate. And if you can, it's a little too late in the season for me to suggest, at least here in New England, to go barefoot. But if you can get out and touch a tree, touch the grass, I'm telling you, you will literally feel the stress leave your body. But as I was feeling back in 2020, I'm starting to feel those feelings again. And with the reticular activating system, once your mind has seen something or notices something, then that's all you notice, which is the reason I went on that news detox, because I was just getting it from every direction. It is no surprise that, I know different things are going on around the world, but here in the States, there's definitely a lot of unrest, and I do not believe it's organic. And there's very little I can do other than not contribute to it, not feed into it, be prepared, but also just take care of my own mind, body, and soul so that I can turn around and help my family with anything they may be facing. So let's just revisit how to increase our frequency, right? Everything here is vibration. Everything, right? Whether it's a tree, whether it's a house, myself, everything is vibration. It's just frequency. That's all it is. And some folks would actually say that everything is just consciousness. I think one of the things, though, that we have is, as human beings, is we have discernment. So we can make choices, and we can make choices every day. So the first thing you can do to increase your frequency is to stay off social media. Seriously. And it's not lost in me that I am recording this video and I am hoping it gets views on social media, but truly stay off of social media. Even if it's for an hour, a few hours, we got to stop looking at everybody else's life. We got to stop listening to the bad news, because we just need to right the ship, let's say. And so once you do that, the next thing is if you can go outside. And like I said, if you can touch something, literally touch a tree, go down to the water if you live along the coast. And if you can't go outside, in a couple of months, the snow will start flying here, which doesn't faze me. I actually prefer to run in the snow. But get outside, and if you can, if it's just a bad day, a stormy day, you can stand near a window. You can still open a window and smell that fresh air. Just close your eyes, smell the fresh air, and let it take you back to a good memory, a good time. And that good memory, that good time, that will increase your frequency. Songs also do that. There are songs that are played at a certain vibration that will raise your frequency. But for me, there's also songs from, years ago, let's say, that I get lost in a great, great memory from it. And instantly, I will feel better. Instantly. So a lot of times before, when I was in the corporate world and I would have to give presentations, a lot of times I would throw a song on before I had to go in and present. It just put me in the right frame of mind. So, whether it's the memory of a smell or the memory of a song, let it take you back, and that will raise your frequency. Prayer raises your frequency. And I know some people have said, well, Lori, I'm spiritual and I do believe in God, but I don't pray. And I would challenge that belief, because I don't necessarily believe prayer is getting down on your knees with your hands raised or clasped together. Sometimes I think it's just walking out here in nature, in the silence, not recording like I'm doing, but you get out here, and if you allow yourself to get lost in nature, in the silence of it all, I think the thoughts that come in through your heart, I believe that's, I'll call intuition, but sometimes I also believe that is God talking to you. And I think a lot of times we don't stop to listen. Even when people say they're listening, I think they will take things out of a conversation. They will take things that fit their narrative, and they literally tune everything else out. I think if we listened more and we talked less, maybe there wouldn't be so much angst in the world as there is today. Another way to raise your frequency is journaling. And again, it doesn't have to be this big project, this big to-do, like you have to journal 2-3 pages every morning. No, just whenever you feel a need that you're not feeling quite right, put on paper. Do a brain dump. What's not feeling quite right. Put on paper what you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be a substantial thing. It could be for just the day that you have to be able to get out and walk. I know this may sound a little bit woo-woo to you folks, but I'm telling you, if any of you have tried any of these, I'm spot on. And one of my favorite ways to raise your frequency is to get out and do something kind for somebody else. That is a surefire way. No matter what's going on in your life, that is a surefire way to raise your vibration. Just the act of kindness. The act of kindness makes everything better. Let me just say that. And there's a lot of kind people. There's a lot of kind people out here. And I've certainly started realizing that as I've gotten to know certain communities online. And I just love the way people are so willing to help other people. because I didn't see a lot of that. And I'll be honest about it. I just didn't see a lot of it. You know, again, fear, negativity, that's what sells. And that's what you would see on the news. But when I set my own, I guess, beliefs aside and just allowed myself to be open, I started seeing other things. So that was certainly a prayer that was answered. So let me ask, what do you need to do, or what do you do when you need to change a bad day? When you're having a bad day, what is the one thing you do? I want to know. I'm always looking for new ideas. I certainly don't have all the answers. And some days I do better than other days, so I don't get it right all the time. But one thing I do is I'm always trying. I'm always trying, and I'll never stop trying. And I hope this message lands with somebody today. I appreciate all of you. And remember, you are enough just the way you are. You so matter. You really, really matter. I look forward to our next conversation. Talk to you soon.